All right, this is a Fox News alert. The big question is, what will the United States do? Turkey is set to attack a Kurdish-held city.
Another one.
Right, exactly. In Syria, there are also reports that a number of ISIS aligned people have flown the coop out of some prisons there. Let's talk to U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican from South Carolina, chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee and a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Senator, good morning to you.
Good morning.
We know that you tweeted out yesterday that it sounds like the United States is ready to impose some sanctions. We heard from Steve Mnuchin in the last 20 minutes. He said we're ready. You said that could be a game changer. Explain.
Well, what's going to happen is I'm going to meet with the president this afternoon. I've been working with Democrat and Republican colleagues to issue sanctions against Turkey, and the blame here is with Turkey. 3 weeks ago, I met Erdogan at the UN in New York. This safe zone concept of where we'd keep Turkey and the Kurds away from each other with an international force was working. A week after that, he basically lied to me, called up President Trump, saying I'm going into Turkey, and the rest is history. Is quickly deteriorating inside of Syria. I blame Turkey. There's going to be crippling sanctions imposed by the Congress to supplement what President Trump's administration has done. We're going to send a signal to Turkey that's unmistakable in the eyes of Erdogan and the world, and we're going to break his economy until he stops the bloodshed.
What's the disconnect, Senator? Erdogan, not only did he think that he was going to be able to get away with it, he plans on coming to Washington and visit the president in a couple of weeks. So who's not communicating with who?
Yeah. Well, Erdogan made the biggest mistake of his political life. The president has tried to hold this together. The YPG Kurds, in the eyes of Turkey, are a terrorist organization. They're aligned somewhat with the PKK. But they were also the main force to help us destroy ISIS. America cannot defend herself without partners. So it's important that we do three things: that we stop ISIS from coming back, and Turkey's incursion into Syria is making it impossible to keep the ISIS prisoners in jail because the Kurds can't fight Turkey and control the prisoners.
1,000 are out of prison.
Yeah, so, right, and more to come unless we intervene. But the good news is President Trump is going to intervene with the Congress in a way to punish Erdogan unlike any time in Turkey's life. I hate this, but he brought it on himself. Israel. There's a 200-and-something person detachment down in southern Syria, the end of the northern area, where Americans stopped the flow of arms from Tehran to Beirut. This detachment needs to stay as a countering Iran presence that we need to keep. We need to make sure ISIS doesn't come back. We need to make sure that we take care of Israel. And the other eye that I worry about is Iran. If we don't have some presence in Syria, Iran will take the Syrian oil fields, and that would be a disaster. That would undercut everything President Trump's tried to do in containing Iran.
Senator, what were your conversations like with the president over the weekend? I know you said you're going to meet with him today. And which Democrats are helping you?
Good. Everybody. I'm going to talk to Pelosi at 9 o'clock, Van Hollen. I've talked to Senator Menendez. I've never seen such bipartisan support. We've all had it with Erdogan. He bought the S-400 from Russia, putting the entire NATO alliance at risk. We were trying to accommodate his legitimate concerns about the Kurdish threat. The president had negotiated a safe zone that was working, but Erdogan misjudged President Trump, and it sure as hell misjudged me.
Senator,
now, what he's going to see is he's going to see a united front that I haven't seen in a long time, where Republicans and Democrats working with the administration are kind of come down on him like a ton of bricks, Iranian-type sanctions, and he deserves it.
Senator, there's one thing that I have trouble stomaching in the Susan Rices or the people who made the decision not to enforce the red line, to pull everyone out of Iraq, to call ISIS the JV team, are now critical of the president. Now, I think the president made a bad move. You do too. But these are the last people that should be commenting. They left this.
Well, it'd be like going to a sumo wrestler asking for diet advice. The last person I would talk to would be anybody from the Obama years. Here's the difference between Trump and Obama. Trump will change his mind and adjust. Obama was smarter than everybody in the room. He knew everything about every topic. He blew it when it came to Syria. We had Assad on the ropes. He let Russia and Iran come in to bail out Assad. He abandoned the Syrian Democratic Forces. And President Trump has shown a willingness to adjust. Here's what President Trump is going to do. He's going to partner with the United States Congress, R's and D's, and we're going to crush Erdogan until we stop the bloodshed. Yeah. We're going to drive him out of Syria. We're going to reset the table.
What about
Senator,
the no-fly zone?
Yeah, we need to reacquire control of the skies. To me, it's offensive that F-16s designed by America are being used to bomb the Kurds. And this alliance between the Kurds and Assad is not good for us. Assad equals Iran. The last thing you want to do is to let Iran become more powerful in northeastern Syria. Yes. Last thing we want to do is abandon the Kurds and let ISIS come back.
Senator, I understand the sanctions could help pull back Turkey from invading northern Syria and going after the Kurds. Right. But how can we also make sure that ISIS does not grow if we're pulling our troops out?
Great question. Well, here's what we need. We need a configuration once we drive Turkey out to accomplish 3 vital U.S. missions to make sure ISIS never comes back. If you think they just threaten Europe, you're wrong. They will radicalize people in our country. If they come back and reestablish even a small caliphate, they will be seen as winners, and they'll radicalize people here at home. They will come here. So a force to contain ISIS is necessary. A counterweight to Iran is necessary, and we need to keep that base open so
Can we do that if our troops aren't
Iran
there, though?
cannot
Okay,
flow weapons into Libya.
You want to keep the base open?
We're going to need a small footprint. We're going to need a small footprint. The Europeans need to do more. They need to take back their ISIS fighters. But the goal number one is to stop the bloodshed, punish Turkey, and make sure that Russia, Iran, North Korea are watching the way Trump does business. If he punishes Erdogan, an ally on paper, then that will send a signal that there's a new sheriff in town.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens by the end of the day, where you're going to talk to the president, you're going to talk to Congress, figure it out. I know the two of you have not agreed on this particular topic because he's saying I made a campaign promise. So let's see what happens later today. Meanwhile, let's talk a little bit about Adam Schiff.
Can I just say one thing about I know. Yeah, one thing about the campaign promise. He also took an oath of office to defend us against all enemies, foreign and domestic. He has done a great job of crippling the Iranian economy. Don't let him come back in Syria. He destroyed the caliphate. Keep your foot on their throat, ISIS throat, Mr. President. You don't want the ISIS flag flying that summer. With a small contingent, after we get Turkey out, we can do this. So, to the whistleblower. The idea that the whistleblower would be allowed to testify in writing as to hearsay testimony offends every concept of due process.
All right. So let's see whether or not they testify at all. Adam Schiff yesterday suggested we don't need to hear from him because we've got the transcript.
Which is unthinkable.
What about Senate?
What
how
a joke.
How are y'all going to respond?
What a joke.
In what way?
I'm going to send a letter to Nancy Pelosi, signed by as many Republican senators as I can find, to say that the transcript does not represent an impeachable offense. Some are troubled by it. I am not. We give money to the Ukraine. We have a reason to be concerned about corruption. But we're going to write a letter to Pelosi saying if you're going to impeach the president based on this phone call, the transcript of the phone call, that is a non-starter in the Senate. Don't destroy the country over that.
All right. Senator Lindsey Graham joined us today, I believe, from Clemson in South Carolina. Sir, thank you very much for joining us live.
Yes.
How about this
I'm
Gamecock?
headed to D.C.
Yeah.
Can you believe it?
It was a great game.
Can you believe it?
And from South Carolina.
Everything's possible in this world.
Exactly.
Thanks, Senator.
Turkey, we're coming. Yeah, Turkey, we're coming after you, pal. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much,
Senator.